Okay, I am going to try to simulate the elicitation of the Punjabi kinship map, basically trying to reconstruct what happened the very first time I did it, which was during my dissertation fieldwork in Sidhupur, a village in Punjab, India. This was the first time I had ever used this elicitation method, so it was the first experimental test of the method, whether it would work. This meant whether it would show that there was a kinship map, whether it would show that the map was coherent, as I thought it should be, and whether the result would be understandable to the people that I got the information from, and they would see it as their ideas that I had recorded rather than something odd or strange that I had imposed on them or something they simply didn't understand. The general design of the dissertation was to elicit all of the major systems of ideas that were used to construct different kinds of social organizations in the village. At the time, really nobody was thinking like this, but I had tested the idea as a graduate student in various kinds of research projects, including my master's paper, before I left, and I was convinced it would work. But of course, I hadn't tested this conviction, so this would be the test. I will start the elicitation with a page layout I've already saved using Adobe Sketch, and I'm recording this with a QuickTime Player as a new movie. So there is the basic page, and I've already set up a grid on the page to help with the drawing. But I don't like my initial drawing, so I will erase it, I hope. Well, that doesn't work. I had to find the right sketch layer. And expand the grid and draw a little more carefully. Now, in the village, I had looked for the ideas that were in use and went after them one at a time, basically in the order in which I thought people would be comfortable talking about them as they got to know me and understand the project. The ideas that people were most happy to talk about were those of the Sikh religion. I had gotten a wonderful lecture on the religion, which carried all of those ideas. Even before starting work in the village, Indra Singh had arranged a meeting with a very well-known Sikh scholar in New Delhi. When I got to the village, I didn't try to do another whole new elicitation, but on any occasion that was a Sikh religious occasion, if an issue came up that I could, it was appropriate for me to say something, I would say what was appropriate according to his description. And these are little laboratory tests, and in every case it was taken as the right thing to have said, the right idea to use under those circumstances. So that was fine. The next least controversial system of ideas that people seemed willing to talk about was kinship. The other idea that I had in mind, or set of ideas that I wanted to investigate, was factions, and this is well established in the literature as something that if a stranger asks about it, you say it's not there, and anyone who asks about it is a stranger. So it's something that was sort of shameful. It wasn't what you talked about with outsiders. So that I was very carefully avoiding for the moment. I began to do the elicitation of kinship in after I'd been in the village about 2.5, 3 months. And I, by that time, had learned some basic terms, like what's the Punjabi word for kin, which is a rishta, and kinship, a kinship group, one's family, rishta dari. I had learned that relatives were near or distant. Near means nazdik in Punjabi. And I had learned some basic terms, but the purpose of this elicitation wasn't just to get the terms, it was to get the ideas behind the terms, the ideas that the terms invoked. So I first explained that this was what I wanted to do. I wanted to get the ideas of kinship, what they considered relations to be, and it helped really at this point that I didn't speak Punjabi very well, because I could put a lot of this as just trying to understand what the terms were and what they meant. And my question was, first of all, does everybody have kinship relations, and can you talk about them as my relations, that is, as opposed to someone else's, and as opposed to relations in general? And the term in Punjabi for my in general is mera. So the question is, can you speak about mera rishte, my relatives? And the answer is yes. Another important question for all terminologies is, do women and men use the same system of terms? And this I already knew was true. They did. So that wasn't an issue. The next important question was, does everybody have a group of nearest relations? In English, I call these direct relations, meaning there's no intervening relation. Mother, father, in English, mother, father, sister, brother, son, daughter. In Punjabi, these are the nazdiki, the nearest relations, or sabse nazdiki. And nobody had a problem with that concept. So the question, first of all, was, can I then represent my with a, can I represent males with triangles, females with circles, and can I represent my, a person who has relations, mera, with a triangle inside a circle, meaning it could be male or female? And the answer is yes. Then what are the nazdiki, the nearest relations? And the interview was conducted mainly in Punjabi. And what kinds of relations are there? And I knew this also. There's rishta, which is what in English would be called blood, but they're not called that in Punjabi, just a relation. But birth people have a concept for. And then shadi, marriage. So everybody has a female parent, and that is Ma, and a male parent that they are descended from, and that is Bab. And everybody has a female sibling, which is Pan. I've got to be careful to do this in the same way I did it in the village. So I put the male on the right side, which is Bhai, and the female sibling, which is Pan. In English, brother and sister. But we'll see eventually that it has quite a different sense, or a different set of implications in Punjabi. And one's own descendants, also male or female, putar, and putri. Now, anthropologists make a distinction between terms of reference, that is, terms you use to refer to somebody, and terms of address, terms you use to address them. And that should not be overstressed. That is, the putri and putar are not terms you would usually call somebody, but there's no problem doing so. But usually in Punjabi, if I would ask what you call your putar, the answer would be by name. The general rule or custom is that you would use kinship terms to address senior people and names to address junior people, lower ranking people. And these are the 6 nazdiki, the 6 near kin, which everyone has. And since, of course, every one of these also has kin, this becomes the eliciting frame for getting the rest of the system in its own terms without imposing anything else that's alien to the system. So we can start. I think I've again reversed these from what I want. I'll make the correction. And of course, if it sounds a little familiar, like bop sounds like pop, which we consider a colloquial word, that's not an accident. That the Punjabi language goes back to Sanskrit and back to a Proto-Sanskrit root that is very like the Proto-Latin and Proto-Germanic terms. They all sort of come together. They're all a single language family, and these are very conservative types of parts of that language, and we'll see many other instances of this as we proceed. Okay, so now we have the direct kin, nazdiki, and we can use this as an eliciting frame to get the rest. So the first thing we can do is say, what is the bop of bop, again, to you? And we can put mera as meaning, what is mera bop, da bop, the father of my father. My father, well, Punjabi grammar works a little differently. So, bop will have a bop. And in Punjabi, that means that he also has a wife. And this is Dada. And the wife is Dadi. And in Punjabi, A and E are general male and female feminine endings for nouns in general. Then if I ask, what is the bai of bop, the response is, which one? And I ask about the response, and the response to my question is, there's an elder and a younger. So I can represent it this way, or I ask if I can represent it this way, and I can. And the elder is Daya, and the younger is Chacha. Now in the village, in the elicitation, I wrote this out in Gurumukhi script, which is the standard script for writing Sikh texts in the language that most people now read, so they can read what I'm saying. And if, again, everything is in the indigenous language. And the pan of bop, in this case there's only one, and it's Bua. Yeah. And I may as well now, I don't remember what the order was when I actually did it, but I may as well do show what I would get when I ask what are the spouses of these. And the term for wife is Garwali. Gar is house, and Wali is one who does or is. And the term for husband, a term for husband, there are many, is Garwala. So if I ask, when I asked, what is the Garwala of Taya, I get Tai. What is the Garwala of Chacha? I get Chachi. And what is the, Garwali of, it's not a good idea to think ahead. And the erasing is part of the process. I started with a large piece of foolscap, newsprint, folded it out to a very large size, and had a very good eraser, and constantly was redrawing as new information came in to be incorporated. Oops, cha-cha, cha-chi. And then Pua, see if I can get this to move a little. Yes. The Garwala of Pua is Pooper. Retroflex R. Now I can do the same for Ma. What is the Bob? I've completed it for Dodd. I'm sorry, I haven't completed it for Bob. Then I should ask, what is the the Puter of Bob, and I will. The answer would be by, or you, meaning me, if meaning the self, if self is male. And then you ask, well, is what I have, is that represented? And the answer is yes. Do I need to change anything? The answer is no. So I've already got that information. If I ask I should ask what's the putri of Ba, and the answer is Ban, sister. And I ask, that's what I already have. Do I need to add anything to that or change anything? The answer is no. I already have that. So now I have the direct kin of Bop. The Ma, Bop, Ban, Bai, Puter, Putri. So now I switch to Ma and do the same thing. So I ask, what is the Ban of Ma? Move this over a little bit. Doesn't want to erase. answer is, first of all, we got Masi. And if I ask what is the Bai of Ma, I get Mama. And if I ask what is the Garwala of Masi, I get Ma Sutter. And if I ask what is the Garwali of Mama, I get Mami. Yes, these are familiar sounding. If I ask what is the Bop of Ma, now in English that would be the same as the Bop of Bop, but it isn't in Punjabi. The Bop of Ma in Punjabi is Nana. And the Ma of Ma in Punjabi is Nani. Then I should ask what is the Putter of Ma, and that is Bairn. Bai. And if I ask what is the Ban, and it's the same as what I already have. And if I ask what is the Putri of Ma, I get Bairn. And is that the same as what I already have? And the answer is yes. Let me clean that up a little. So now I have the direct kin of Ma. In a sense, I know what all the direct kin of Ma are to me, or to Mera, a user. I do the same then for Bai. What is the Bop of Bai? And the answer is Bop. And that is, in English, we would say the father of your brother is your father. And I should ask, is that all? Is there anything else I need to add to the drawing, as I already have it? And the answer is no, it's just fine. So I can leave that. What is the Putri of, I forget which one I'm doing, of Van? And what was I doing? What is the Putter of, I'm sorry, what is the Bop of Bai? What is the Ma of Bai? And the same, that's Ma. What is the, do I need to add anything? The answer is no. So what is the Putter of Bai? And then I have to add something. That is not Putter Putri. That is, depends on whether it's male or female. And I now find a new pattern, and I'll describe it briefly rather than drawing it out piecemeal and then reconstructing it because of the space limitations. The Putter of Bai is Patija. The Putri of Bai is Patiji. The spouse of Patija uses a term, well, no, let me do it this way. Hold that for a second. The spouse of Putter is Nu. The spouse of Putri, meaning Garwala, is Joai. So for Patija, what I get is the same thing. That is, the male child of Bai, Putter, is Patija. The female child of Bai, Putri, is Patiji. The Garwala of Patiji is Patij Nu. the one who comes, basically. And the Gurwali of Patija is Patij Joai. So what I have here, and this is true of all the terms below ego, is a stem, which is Patij, and it takes 4 different endings depending on the specific way in which that relationship is attained. If it's by descent, then it's the stem plus the male or female ending, depending on gender. And if it's by marriage, it is the stem plus the ending indicating husband or indicating wife, or one who has come. So I don't really have to put all 4 relations here. I can just put the stem. And that's what I did. We'll come back, of course, and do their direct kin. For Pan, we do the same thing. What is the Patija and the Putter and Putri of Pan? And this is 2 different terms. Clean this up. I want to do it the other way. Male or female. And the stem in this case is Punj. So the female child, Putri of Ban, is Banji. Putter of Ban is Banja. Gurwala of Banji is Banj Joai. Gurwali of Banja is Banj Nu. And that is all of the relations. Oh, I'm sorry. I all should ask, what is the Ban of Ban? And the answer is Ban. What is the Bai of Ban? And the answer is Bai. Is there anything else to add there? And again, the answer is no. So now it is complete for Bai and Ban. So then we do the same for Putter Putri. What is the Bap of Putter? That is, what's the father of son? And the answer is, if you're male, it's you. What is the Bap of it? What if you're not male? It's your Gurwali. I'm sorry, your Gurwala. What is the Bai of Putter? And the answer is Putter. And what is the Ban of Putter? And the answer is Putri. And again, you already have that. Is there any need to add anything? And the answer is no, it's the same. So you got that. So then you ask, also, what is the Ma of Putter? And the answer is, if you're female, it's you. And if not, it's your wife, all in Punjabi, of course. So then what is the, and we've asked this Bai and Ban of Putter. So what is the Putter of Putter? And here, well, I can show you how I did it. It involved a lot of redrawing. Putter of Putter is Pota. And Putri of Putter is Poti. So same pattern, so I can erase that and just consider it a stem. And again, that'll have the Gurwali of Pota will be Pot Nu, and the Gurwala of Poti will be Pot Joai. And what is the putter and putri of putri? And the answer is dot. And if this looks like daughter, there's a long historical connection. And that means that the putter is dota, putri is doti, Gurwala of doti is dot joai, Gurwali of doti is dot nu. So dot is another stem. That's the second line out from the direct kin. And now I can go further. So what is the nana? I'm sorry. What is the bop of nana? And the answer is, and I can take it down, erase, but I'll make it shorter. The answer is Paranana. And again, must have a wife, so it's Paranana. The whole interview actually took about 3 hours. And Paranani. And if, well, I can wait. Okay. What is the bai of nana? And the answer is nana. What is the ban of nana? The answer is nani. So can I redraw that? To show that by doing it this way. And understanding that this means that nana is either the spouse or sibling of nani, and nani is either the spouse or sibling, bai or Gurwali, of nana. And the answer is yes, you can. So now for nana, I have, well, then I would also ask, what is the putri of nana? And the answer is ma or masi. What is the putter of nana? And the answer is mama. What is the putri of nani? And the answer is ma. What is the, or masi? And what is the putter of nani? And the answer is mama. So do I have all of that? And the answer is yes. That's just fine. I don't need to change anything else. Okay, so that takes care of nana. Now I can come over here to dada. Clean this up a little. Oops. And do the same thing. So what is the dada, the bop of dada to you? And the answer is, as you almost should be able to guess, pardada. And what is the ma of dada to you? And the answer is pardadi. And what is the bop of dadi to you? And the answer is pardada. And what is the bop of ma of pardada of dadi to you? And the answer is pardadi. So pardada, pardadi is either the bop or ma of dada dadi. And then I can ask, I'll leap ahead a little bit and say, what is the ban of perdada? And the answer is going to be perdadi. And what is the bai of perdadi? And the answer is perdada. So can I draw it the same way I did with nana nani? And the answer is yes. I'm sorry, it was up a generation. What is the bop of dadi? No, it's the other way around. This is what I want to do. What is the bai of dada? And the answer is dada. What is the ban of dada? The answer is dadi. Do I already have that? Yes, you do. Can I draw it that way? And the answer is yes, you can, as I have for nana nani. So that configuration means that dada is either the spouse or sibling of dadi, and dadi is either the spouse or sibling, garwala or parent, of dada. So I have that. And I can keep going up, but I won't right now. Then we come to really anyone we want, but we can have Thai, and what we're going to do is keep going until we hit limits, where either somebody is not akin at all or there's a relation back to something you already have, and the circle closes logically. So if we ask what is the bop of Taya, then we get dada dadi, and bop and ma of Taya, we get dadi, and dada is the husband. What is the bai of Thai? We get cha-cha or Daya. What is the bai of cha-cha? We get cha-cha or Dai. What is the bai of bua? We get bua. So we've got all of that. Then we come, what is the puter of Daya? And the answer is bai. And what is the putri of Taya? And the anti, and the answer is ban. So can I draw it this way I just have? Is it the same as your bai and ban? And the answer is yes, just the same. So can I draw it that way? And the answer is yes. What is the what is the puter and putri of cha-cha, chachi? And the answer is the same. Bai and ban. Same bai and ban that I already have? Yes. Can I draw it this way? Yes. And since I'm sort of on a roll, why not keep going? What is the puter and putri of bua and pupar? And the answer again is bai and ban. So can I draw it that way? Yes. It is. Is it the bai and ban we already have? Yes. So now we have, for everybody on Bop's generation, Bop, who is Dada, and Bop, Ma, Dadi, their bai and ban, and their puter putri. To you, their relations to you. So we can now come over and do the same thing on the Ma side. So what is the bop of Masar? And the answer is Nana. What is the bop of Nani? And the answer is, and what is the ma of Masi? And the answer is Nani. Is that what we already have? Yes. What is the bai of Masi? And the answer is Mama. Is that what I already have? Yes. What is the ban of Masi? It's Ma. That's what I already have. So that's fine. What is the puter of Masi? And the answer is bai. And what is the putri of Masi? And the answer is ban. So can I draw it the way I just have? Is that the same bai and ban that I've already gotten? And the answer is yes. Now this is beginning to look very unlike English. come over here, and that now is all the direct kin for Masi, Masar. And I should ask that. I can't just assume from my own drawing. What are the Bop and Bai of Mami and Mama? And the answer is again Nana, Nani. And I can ask all of the relations I already have, and I did. What is the Bai of Mama? And the answer is Mama. What is the Barn of Mama? And the answer is Ma or Masi. So I've got all of that. Then what is the Puter of Mama? And the answer is, you probably should be able to guess, Bai. And what is the Putri of Masi of Mama? And the answer is Barn, which I already have. So can I draw it that way? And the answer is yes. So now I have all the direct kin of Masi and Mama linked in. Then I should be able to see I've got the direct kin of Bai and Ban already. So we go down to the generation below. And of course I can ask what is the Bop of Ban, I'm sorry, Bop of Banja, and that will be, actually, I don't have that. That's a Jija. And this introduces another concept, which is like the in-law ending in English, Jija is not used to address people. It's considered descriptive, but to address them you use by a male. Everybody on that on your generation, all the males you address as by. That's just polite speech. And similarly over here, Bai, Garwali of Bai, is Bobby. Now notice in all of this the graphic pattern, which is not something you see in Punjab, but it's very tied in with a rhyming pattern, which of course everybody knows. So the sound space is very much like the visual space. Okay, that takes care of the direct kin of the direct kin all the way around. So then the next question is, what are the Putter and Putri of, what have I said, Banj, and Banji, and now I don't need to fill that female in, you know that's Banjnu. So what is the Putter and Putri of Banja? And the answer is Banjdot. Now notice over on the other side, right below Putter and Putri, we've got Dot. So Banjdot is the Dot through Banj. And that's a stem, and it works the same as the others. What is the Putri of Ban? I'm sorry, of Banji, and that is, what are the children of Banji, I should say, and that is also Dot. So is that the same Dot as I already have? And the answer is yes. I have all that. Nothing's necessary to add. So the next question then is, what is the child of, well, I can ask what's the child of Banjdot, and the answer is nothing, no relation to you. And if I ask why, actually this occurred in a different order, but the answer is you're dead. You don't have a relation with them. It's just too far in the future. But well, I'll tell you how I got there, which is that I first asked a different set of questions on the end, which is what's above nana, purnana, and purnani. So the question was, what is dada of purnana? And the answer was laughter. There is no relation. That is no relation. And if I ask why, the answer is they're dead. You don't have a relation with dead people. So on that side, and the same answer is with purnani. What is the bop and ma of purnani? Laughter, laughter, laughter. So that purnana and purnani are the end on that side, meaning the end of your ancestors through your mother. But when I asked the same question on the dada side, I did get an answer. And the answer was bop of perdada is nakardada. Oops. And ma of perdada is nakardadi. And that is the end. If I ask what is the bop of nakardada, again laughter, again it's a really funny question, and the answer is the same. That is, they're dead, you don't have a relation with them. If we ask why there's one more generation on that side being the side to the father, the answer, which I didn't get in this interview, but it came out later, and it was obvious anyway, is that these are the people in your own village, da-da-da-di. The nana-nani are in the village your mother comes from. The marriage custom is the woman goes to her husband's village, so she leaves behind her own. So a person growing up in a household has his ancestors in the village are those through the father of the household, not the mother, and the mother you lose track of after a while. Because in every generation in Punjab, the custom is to marry to a different family. So you're constantly spreading a network, but also constantly it gets more and more remote as your mother's ancestors become more and more remote. Okay, now down here we get the same ideas, the same prefixes, that is putter and nucker, recurring, and the same concepts of a relation as the basis of the ends, as what explains the ends. So what is the putter of Banjdot? The answer is nothing. That's the end. And again, for the same reason, it's a group of links through females and you lose track. What is that is ultimately through Pan? What is the child of Dota and Doti? The answer is, oops. You should be able to guess, maybe. Putterdot. Putterdota, Putterdoti, and their spouses. And if you work it out, that's the reciprocal of the da-da-da-da line. So if I ask what is the if I ask what is the sister of Pardot E of Pardota, the answer is Pardoti. What is the brother of Pardoti? The answer is Pardota. So that's all complete. Everybody on that generation is Pardota, Pardoti. And then finally, what is the child of Pardot? And the answer is Nakardot, Nakar Parot. Pardota, Pardoti, Pardotnu, Pardotjoai. If I come over here to the child through your putter, what is the child of Pota? The answer is, I'm sorry, there's one other that, well, I'll get to it, that I need to link. The putter of Pota is Parot. I'm sorry, got that wrong. Let me reverse these because it draws a little better. What is the child of Pota? The answer is Parot. Ah. And what is the putri of Parot, of Pot? And the answer is Paroti, and then so on. Parotnu and Parotjoai. And what are the children of Parot A and Paroti? The answer is Nakar Parot. And people thought this was pretty amusing that I was learning this because it's such remote stuff and people don't normally use the terms because the people aren't around. Esoteric knowledge. So again, Pot, Parot, Pardot, Nakar Parot, like Dada, Pardada, Nakar Dada. And on the connections through females, the daughter of Pota, the son and daughter of Poti are Nakar Poti and Pota. Oops. And again, the same. Their spouses are Nakar Pot Nu, Nakar Pot Joai. And since it's Nakar, there is nobody beyond that. So now I have the complete boundary conditions of Punjabi. On the upper generation, on the mother's side, it's Putter. On the father's side, through men, it's Nakar. On the descendant side, through females, it's nothing or Putter. And in the through descendants through male, well, it's Nakar, generally ending. And on one's own generation, it's Bai and Ban. There's nothing beyond Bai and Ban, or, putting it another way, everybody on your generation is Bai or Ban. I'm sorry, there's one that I've forgotten, which is Patija. What are the children of Patija? And the answer is the children of Patiji of Patija. I think I got this. This is going to be a little tangled. Are grouped with children of Putar, and children of Patiji are grouped with children of Putri. So, linked through females. That is the complete Punjabi, and everything is all tied up into an end, or it ends with a nukkar, or a part, or by or ban. Complete kinship map of Punjabi, ready to clean up quite a lot. And again, it would be a lot easier to read if this was on a 2-foot by 2-foot piece of newsprint and had been done in pencil, but it would still be a mess. And the next step is to clean it up, make sure you got all the lines connected so that you have a reciprocal for every term and a boundary condition at every spot, and then go back and check it with the people you originally got the information from to be sure that in cleaning up the drawing you haven't changed anything significant. And as it happened in Punjab, I had conducted this first elicitation in an afternoon. The village was not electrified, so we had to work in daylight. But I had a candle in my, a little kerosene wick in my room, kerosene lantern. So I did the clean, and I had a table, which I didn't have when I did the elicitation. So I laid the nice clean piece of newsprint out on the table and drew it all very neatly with the Gurmukhi letters printed in. And I was actually hadn't yet, then I went to bed and got up in the morning, and it happened that next morning, some people from the village, I don't remember who they were, brought a guest who was from the city actually, but also from another village, who was sort of an educated, smart guy, and he was going to show me up for what I was and show these bumpkins up for how naive they were by accepting me as a scholar who really wanted to understand something. And he knew, in fact, I must be a spy. So he was asked the sort of usual preliminary questions. Where am I from? America. What language I speak? English. What am I doing here? I'm a graduate student in anthropology working on a dissertation. What is anthropology? Study of human communities in my case. Why do you come here? Because no American has worked in Punjab before. There isn't a description of a Punjabi village. And obvious in every answer he expresses sort of sneering doubt. And along about that time, he'd been there about 5 minutes, and about 4 or 5 villagers are standing with him. He looks down at the table and sees the kinship map and sees the Gurmukhi. And he says, "What's that?" And I say, it's, and the word in Punjabi that I'd been using with the people who gave me the information was Naksha. I said, that's a Naksha of Punjabi kinship in Punjabi. And he looked with absolute disbelief, like, how could I expect anybody to believe that? He said, "You mean you came all the way here to learn that?" As though that was totally ridiculous. And of course, I kept a complete poker face and acted as naive as I possibly could and said, yes, I did. We don't know this in America. And then a couple of the other villagers sort of realized this was right because, of course, when you learn English in Punjab, which people do, and you learn the translations, you know they're not right. So he thought he had really just kind of won the day with this really obvious point that I couldn't possibly be there to learn the Punjabi kinship map, kinship system. But for me, it was the best possible kind of test that the elicitation was correct, that this was so obviously something everyone knew, that it couldn't possibly be something worth spying for or coming halfway around the world to find out. And a hostile witness is always the best witness when you can get them to affirm what you are concerned about. So anyway, that was a very happy moment. Then I took it back to the family, and they agreed, and I devised some tests by asking different people whose genealogical relationships I knew, what their kinship relation was to each other. And after I had predicted it in advance, and then I wrote down their prediction to see if they matched, and I was always 100% correct. And every other test I could devise worked the same way. This does enable me to do what Ward Goodenough claimed he was going to offer confidential analysis to let people do, is to predict how they use kinship terms. But that didn't work. This does, because I'm using their own indigenous idea system, and I've got it without confusing it with any English idea system. And obviously, this is nothing like what English people think, English-speaking people, what's a little like kinship is, and it's nothing, very different, I shouldn't say nothing, like the English kinship map. So that's the Punjabi elicitation, more or less clean, more or less readable, and I can close it and save it. And then the next step, I will show you what the cleaned up version looks like. And then the next steps were also to predict its uses. So that is it. The end. This is the cleaned up version as it was published, replacing Gurwala Gurwali with Patani, Patti, Patani wife, Patti husband. There's no difference in meaning. I just forgot them while I was simulating the elicitation. Patti, Patani, same rules apply in the sense that these also are not used for address. They're only used for description.